Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's me, Adam Neff, and I am back. Yeah, I've been gone for a minute. Given everything that's been going on in the world, I just kind of took a step back, trying to figure out how to deal with all that, as I'm sure everybody else is. But what are we talking about today? Well, I'll tell you what we're talking about today. We're talking about God of War. God of War, yeah. Okay, God of War, it's a little bit older. I mean, it's not that old. We're talking maybe, I don't know, maybe a year and a half at most. But, and if you haven't figured out by now, I'm kind of going back and playing a lot of my favorite games. Mostly because, you know, a lot of these newer, really exciting games that are gonna be coming out just aren't out yet. So I figured I'd go back and play a lot of my not old, but a little bit older games that I loved and I wanted to share with you guys. So what better way to start a YouTube channel? So we come to God of War at last. You know, this one is one that I've been wanting to do a review on for a while. Actually, I kind of wanted to start my channel with the God of War review, but I hadn't finished it up yet, and there was kind of some other games that I was already, you know, neck deep in, and just kind of wanted to finish those and get a review out. So finally got back, reviewed God of War, and here it is. God of War, I mean, for anybody who's ever played any of the God of Wars, you kind of already know Kratos' story. Just a real quick recap. It's actually kind of simple if you think about it. Kratos, you know, went through and murdered all the gods for what they did to his family. He ended up going through and starting with Ares, the god of war, for any Greek mythology people out there, which in turn made him the god of war. That's kind of the premise of what he is, why he is the god of war. He then used the powers that he gained from being the god of war and continued to basically just take out all the Greek gods. And yes, Zeus and Poseidon and all of them. So after that, he sails off and goes to a different shore, which brings us into Midgard, which I guess is just Earth. But it's the Norse mythology version of, I guess, the Greek mythology. Anyway, so after doing all that, Kratos comes to the new land. He ends up getting married and has a kid, which is kind of bizarre to see Kratos with a kid. It's bizarre, but it's actually really cool. I think it added a depth to Kratos' character and you know, kind of the story arc, his story arc. So I really liked it. I thought that was a good direction to take the game in, which was completely opposite of the other games. I mean, Kratos was just an animal in the other games, which was really fun, by the way, in its own right. You know, the other games were button mashers. You just would go through and you'd mash the buttons, and Kratos would, you know, just go to town on any enemy. It's classic hack and slash, if you will. This game decided to go a little bit different direction. It decided to go with more of a, I don't know, a over-the-shoulder, third-person, action, adventure, story type game. But I liked it. I liked it. I would say I liked it more than the others, but I guess I liked it different than the others, if that's a thing. The only thing that I struggled with personally was that it was very Souls-like. I'm not ripping on them. Don't get me wrong. The Souls games are great for you guys. I personally just don't really relate to the whole, you know, tougher is funner aspect of things. To me, that's frustrating. I just end up breaking a controller or something. But this game, it wasn't completely Souls, but it was tough. I mean, and a lot of people say you don't actually really play God of War unless you play it on the absolute highest difficulty. which I can't even imagine. I'd literally punch myself in the face. But playing through this on just kind of a medium difficulty was absolutely a blast. The leveling Kratos up was, well, it was kind of slow if I'm being honest, but it was really well done. You know, you got to level up your abilities and you level up your gear. One of the coolest things is they brought back the Blades of Chaos, which were the main weapons that Kratos used in the other gods of war, that he used to basically kill all the Greek gods. They brought those back, and they also had the axe, which was very Thor's hammer-esque. You know, Kratos can throw it and just bring it back, which, oh my gosh, I gotta tell you that. Just doing that one simple thing, that one simple motion in this game was, I can't tell you, I just would do it over and over, even when I didn't need to. One of the cool things about this game, though, is Kratos' son, Atreus, who adds, like, this really cool depth to the fighting. I mean, yeah, the story, it adds a really cool depth to the story, but the fighting is so cool because you can bring Atreus into the fight. I mean, he's already in the fight, but you can bring him into the fight by controlling him. And not really, it's almost a passive control. You know, you'll be fighting somebody and you'll kind of control Atreus to shoot one of the guys with one of his arrows, and he has kind of these magic arrows, and he can get these combo moves that kind of work into Kratos' moves, and it just makes for a really interesting fighting style, I guess. Beyond that, the graphics of the game are absolutely gorgeous. I feel like at the time when they came out, they were probably really groundbreaking. Right now, if you were to go back and play through the game, especially on 1080, it would still look really good. Don't get me wrong. Kratos, the way his armor sheens, and you can almost see the pores in his skin and the scars from being cut up so much, and Atreus has this big old scar across his face, and the lighting and the atmospheric effects, the mist, the snow, it's amazing. But I feel like there's a lot of new games out right now that kind of, you would automatically start to compare the two, and I don't know if it quite holds up completely, but it is still gorgeous. The maps, these draw distances where you can see way far off into the distance, all the way up to a mountain, the peak of a mountain. Now, it's not an open world game. You can't just roam around wherever you want, but it's open in the sense that it's kind of almost Metroidvania. Like, you'll go out, start fighting somebody or doing something, and then just whenever you want, you can choose to come back to the main hub of the game and, go down a different path or go on a different quest. It's actually, now that I think about it, it's very Metroidvania. But it's still fun. And honestly, for people who like that type of game, it's really fun. But it is not an open world game. Don't get that stuck in your head, because it's really not. And that's almost a relief. There's so many games right now that are just like, hey, let's make this giant open world. It's got more square mileage than planet Earth. This one kind of feels the maps full of life, which is really cool. It just it adds that depth to the levels. The story is kind of basic, but still really cool in its own right. Kratos and Atreus have to get the mother's ashes to the top of the mountain after she dies, and Kratos decides to cut down a tree that had a spell that kind of hid him from the rest of the world, especially the gods, the Norse gods, who would undoubtedly want to either use him or kill him, which is kind of what happens. I don't want to give too much of the game away, but your main enemy guy is Baldur. Baldur is a brother of Thor, and he's basically invincible in the game, but also in mythology. He's just basically invincible. Well, let's face it, Kratos is kind of basically invincible as well. So, I mean, the game opens up with the scene where Baldur comes knocking at the door right after, you know, they just did the burial burning of his wife, and Baldur's challenging him, and Kratos is just like, hey, bro, I'm gonna whoop your trash. But at the same time, you know, Kratos has no idea who he is, and so they get in this epic fight, and that's the fight scenes in this game are so epic, and they're just, you know, over the top and almost anime-esque, but that's what makes them so cool. Personally, would I recommend this game? Yeah, hell yes. I would absolutely recommend this game. This game is fun, so fun. And although if you're somebody who gets frustrated pretty easily at just overly difficult situations, this game's gonna frustrate you. I mean, you're gonna run into some situations where you're just going, "What is going on?" You know, I'm the god of war. I should be tearing you in half right now. But instead, you just killed me by, you know, smacking me, you know, with an axe or something. Frustration does set in with this game. But would I absolutely recommend this game? Yes, I would. Go out, pick it up. Even though it's older, even though it's a little bit older, and I'm sure you can probably pick it up for cheap now. I think it's like $20 because it's one of the PlayStation greatest hits. But go out, pick one up, and play through it. It is so fun, and maybe it'll get you guys into going back and playing some of the older ones. And they are dated, and they do play completely different than this one, but they're so fun. Other than that, I hope you guys are enjoying these reviews. Once again, I am always open to any suggestions you might have for a game idea that, you know, hey, I want you to review this game. If it's cool enough and it's something that that kind of goes with what kinds of games that I like, I'm absolutely get it, pick it up, play through it, and tell you guys what I think. But other than that, if you guys have any questions or any remarks, leave them down in the comments, and feel free to subscribe. I really do need more subscribers, if I'm being honest. The 6 of you guys out there that watch this, it's hard to do these reviews and have only like 6 people watching it. But other than that, you guys have been absolutely great, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.